we've kind of let it go in a certain direction, but if we drill down a little bit to parallels, the parallel argument as a subcategory of the mythicist claim, Bill Craig almost every time he's asked, he just says, look, don't be naive. Scholars don't buy this. The ones that study and know this don't do this. And in a way, he's right. There's very few. It is a minority position. That doesn't mean it's automatically wrong, but Bill just punts to that. When you're in an academic setting or ask about this, do you do something like you just did, the early language combined with the sight language? Or do you do the kind of, hey, this is not a consensus view. The people that study this the most don't tend to come to these conclusions. Do you do the critics aren't in alignment on this? How do you go?
I actually, if they want me to count them on my hands, I will check off about a dozen refutations. Now, I think the earliness, I've said it 100 times, I don't want to be misunderstood. I know how this thing works. I'll walk away and they'll quote me saying something else. Earliness does not refute legend.
Right.
But the combination of coming out at that first time with the conviction of having seen him,
yes.
In other words, nobody claimed they saw him in 95 AD for the first time. Yeah. They claimed they saw him buying a loaf of bread right after he was crucified. That combination. But there's many others. I mean, another one is legend theory doesn't empty tombs.
Yes.
So if there's evidence for an empty tomb, now in my big magnum opus, I have over 20 arguments for the empty tomb, and you go, nice. Well, yeah, the way you evangelical cite, no, 20 critical arguments, the way critics do it. I love Bart Ehrman here. Bart says, yeah, people think I quote the Bible all the time as if I believe in it. He says, you're not understanding me. He says, I don't say things, this is Bart Ehrman, I don't say things are true because the Bible said so. I only quote the Bible when there's evidence portions in the Bible.
There you go.
And then he makes this comment. He says, if I'm researching the Revolutionary War, don't call me prejudiced if I interview the American generals who fought in it. Right. They're the eyewitnesses. And he says, that's what we're doing with the apostles.
Right,
so that's a brilliant.
It is. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. You sound pleased with where Life of Jesus studies are going. Is that a fair statement to say you're pleased at this point in your life?
I am.
Okay.
I am. I think there's a lot of loose ends. I think, I don't agree with too many of the scholars who think that we don't need historical Jesus. I'm glad it's been here for now. When you think about it, it's been around for almost 45 years. It's been the most dominant idea. Right. If we go twice this time, we'll have tied the over a century of German liberalism from Schleiermacher in 1799 up till about 1920 with Rausch.
Yes.
That was 121 years there. Ooh. We're at about 45 years right now. I'm pretty pleased to where it's gone.
Yes.
I do think it's interesting. Schweitzer's critique way back in just after the century changed, the last century, not this one. Right. Schweitzer said the problem with the first quest, it crashed because everybody made Jesus in their own image.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
With the Jesus Seminar, when they started writing here just 25 years ago, the Jesus Seminar said, one of the problems is if your Jesus looks too much like you, you're wrong. And then what did the Jesus Seminar do? They go and make him an aphoristic, sane, traveling philosopher, and they make him right in their image, and nobody else, even the skeptics, followed them. So they didn't. They crossed their own line. So, I think there's problems with historical Jesus. I think we can all be mistaken. Sure. And we don't want to make him into a this or that. But I do think, without any question, that we have uncovered data like never before. And there's been three historical periods. There's 4 periods, 3 quests of the historical Jesus. And what differentiates this one from all of them is that they started with what do we learn about Jesus from Jewish thought instead of Bultmann's question, what do we learn about Jesus from Hellenistic thought?
Greco-Roman.
So what do we learn about Jesus from Jewish thought? And I just finished pointing out in an essay, when you ask the question, if Jesus is a person of his own background, he was a Jew. Yes. He lived when Judaism was pretty strong.
Right.
Duh. He
Right.
dialogued with Sadducees and Pharisees, and he knew
Right.
where they're coming from. Duh. You know,
Right.
he's a man of his time. He believed all this. If
Right.
that's true, his conclusions are probably going to be Jewish,
Right.
not Hellenistic. And if his conclusions are Jewish, don't be surprised if you're a little more conservative than the other historical Jesus movements. And this
Yes.
is the most conservative
Yeah.
one of the quests.
For sure. Absolutely.